You're listening to the Parts Pros podcast, the only podcast made specifically for automotive parts professionals. We're here to dive into the latest industry trends, expert strategies, and real-world solutions to drive success and boost your parts department bottom line. I'm your host, Amanda Poe, an automotive marketing expert with more than a decade of experience helping dealerships drive growth in the ever-changing, ever-evolving digital landscape. I'm joined today by Emily from our official podcast sponsor, RevolutionParts. Emily is a parts and e-commerce guru with 5 years of hands-on experience working with both OEM and aftermarket parts industry leaders.
Thanks for the warm introduction, Amanda. Really happy to be here today and talk with our guest and learn some of his strategies for growing his parts business.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad to have you today. Our other guest, and really the reason that we're here, is Ishmael Rodriguez. Ishmael is the internet parts manager at Ford of Montabello in California. Ishmael took his parts department from $0 in online sales to over $100,000 in online sales in under 9 months. And that's just the parts department. We're going to talk to him today about how he did it and get his tips and tricks for success. How are you doing today, Ishmael?
I feel great. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you guys for the opportunity to kind of share, what we did over here. And I'm super stoked, super excited to get into it. Again, my name is Ishmael. I'm 27. I've been here about a year in April, so coming on my 1 year now. And yeah, like you said, we started with nothing online, and we found you guys, and now we have a pretty steady operation going. And it's been incredible. It's been a really cool ride.
A wild ride of a year, right?
Right.
Well, thank you for coming. We're glad to have you. I think we got some questions for you today.
Yes.
So, Ishmael, you were hired at Ford of Montabello with almost no experience running an online parts business. Now, within a 9-month period, you went from $0 to $100,000 in online part sales, which is incredible. How did you prepare yourself for the challenge and to be so successful early on?
That's right. Yeah. So, when I first started, I was very transparent. I was very transparent with management because this was a new endeavor and I knew it was going to be a challenge. And so what I wanted to do first was be very upfront with management, parts managers, the owner, business office, the GM, and really set the right expectation. And then for myself personally, I just dedicated myself. I went all in. And I just immersed myself in the world of online parts. So any form of information or piece of information that I could get my hands on or study, I was doing that. And in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, it was a bit of an uphill battle, but I was expecting that already. And I made sure that management also knew that as well because, we didn't really want to beat around the bush. There were going to be things that were going to come up, but we wanted to tackle those challenges, head on. And so I think that's what really helped me early on, stay focused and dedicated. And I would also say, I was lucky because my parts manager, he has a lot of belief in me. He gave me the keys to the castle and he said, go make it happen. We got your back. So that was also very, very helpful as well.
That's excellent. I talk to a lot of dealers who say that their management is iffy and just kind of want to throw them to the wind and let them do it by themselves and aren't really helpful. So it's great that you had some management that was willing to help you out with that. I would say kind of crazy endeavor going from 0 to 100,000.
For sure. Yeah.
So I know that a lot of dealerships, they have doubts about the potential of starting online sales. There's a lot of really big misconceptions out there and a lot of people telling, stories of worst case scenario. So let's kind of talk through some of those misconceptions and maybe ways that you overcame those in your journey to begin selling parts online.
Sure. Yeah. So I remember seeing a video that I think is on the YouTube page for Revolution, and it was a panel. And I forgot who exactly spoke about it, but it was regarding perspective. And I think your perspective going into this has to be, very open-mindedness. And, you got to really prepare for what's going to come. And I don't mean to hyperbolize it or make it sound crazy. There are challenges. It's new to us. It's new to the dealer. But, coming on 9 months now, ending 9 months, I was able to see all the challenges firsthand. So I 100% can see why dealerships are hesitant, right? Or they have misconceptions. It's totally understandable. But like I was mentioning, going from nothing to where we're at now, I was able to see all those things. And so um I could see why dealerships are saying that it's quote unquote not worth it or there's no profit. I saw that. I see that. But as long as you stay the course, you'll start to see profit 100%. And I think it's honestly a dangerous place to be where dealerships now are kind of comfortable. That's what I noticed too in the beginning. Sometimes the dealerships can be too comfortable to where they don't want to do new things. They're scared to try, or they just are going to be working with the system that they already have in place. So when they hear something like this, a brand new challenge, it kind of is off-putting. So yeah.
Let's talk about the opposite misconception. I have heard from so many dealers the concept, if you build it, they will come, right? You build an online store and you're just going to start selling $1 million in parts overnight. You have that parts website out there and it's like, I'm just going to start raking in part sales overnight, no effort whatsoever. What is your experience? Because 0 to 100,000 in 9 months is definitely not 0 to 100,000 in 30 days.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think we're in this for the long run. And that was something that I made very clear to management early on is, this is going to be a system that is implemented for as long as this dealership stands. And I think that's something that a lot of dealerships have to understand too is, we should be able to give our customers the option to even purchase parts or get anything delivered to them, right? That in itself, I think, is very powerful, is giving the consumer, the customer, the option to get, right, their parts delivered. So, I will say when we went live officially, we saw success immediately. The same day we started seeing orders come in, which was very, very exciting, and it was promising, and I was just kind of surprised, to be honest, because this dealership doesn't really do much online marketing, and it was just a flip of a switch, and we started seeing sales come in. So I had to, adjust and whatnot. But we did see a little bit of that. There are days where, it's a little slower, which is just normal. On those days, we, put our focus and our efforts into, something else. But we got a mix of them. We got a mix of days or the weekends, for example, when I come back on Mondays and we have 25 plus orders that I have to get, shipped, packaged, and sent. So early on, we did get some early on success. And then as we progressed, we had our ups and downs.
So what you're saying is if you build it, they will come, just not in droves. You have to be ready for them to trickle in slowly.
Yes.
And that's where, people like Emily and I come in, where we talk about marketing. I think that, not to, throw in my 2 cents, but when people say, well, if you build it, they will come, you have to do online marketing. You have to promote your website. You have to promote your store on your own website, on your own social media. You have to make sure that your parts numbers are correct, that you have great descriptions to all of your parts. You have to make sure that when you're uploading things, that the information you're putting for those parts is correct. Because not only are you risking not getting the orders, but you're risking getting orders that are just going to get returned if you don't do it right. So I think that a big step there is doing it right. But it's like you just said, if you have the website there, you have the opportunity to get those people. And the sports metaphor for that, for those of us that played sports in school, is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So you're waiting to take that shot. What'd you say, Emily?
Was that Wayne Gretzky?
I don't know who said it. To me, it was my high school basketball coach, Coach Doyle. That's who said it for me. I don't know who actually said it.
Well, hopefully the chat doesn't have to humble me there.
I'm going to have to go Google that later. Okay, but let's talk about setting your store up, though. So we talked about how you need to do some online marketing. We talked about how it's not a quick process, but you did it in 2 months, right?
Yeah, and I think we could have done it earlier, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. Looking back, I think, shout out to you guys. Revolution was on point, and again, it was a new thing, so we weren't entirely prepared. I mean, I prepared myself as much as I could, but there were things, things happened. So, and especially with, you know, different roles or people in different roles that have to play a part in the startup process. For example, me not having access to certain things. And to be honest with you, I the management team are a little older. And so when they see a 27-year-old kid asking for bank information or whatever, they're hesitant. So it was just, earning their trust and making sure that I was as clear as possible and laid out everything for example, business office or, talking to the GM or the owner or my manager and letting them know that I was the man for the job early on. But I definitely think we could have got it done earlier. I'd say about a month, but yeah, we did do 2 months.
Okay, so you said the older management, and I'm gonna pretend like by older you mean like 60s and 70s, right?
Oh,
Because
for sure.
okay, okay, good. Sometimes when you talk to a 27-year-old, they're like, "Oh yeah, older," and it's like somebody who's 35.
No, 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 no. Like,
Okay. So when you're talking to your management and they're like, I don't want to do this. This is a lot of work. This is a lot of time. I'm having to, add new technology that I didn't have to before. How do you convince them to get on board to let you do what it is you need to do to be able to increase the profits that much?
yeah, I think so. Being competent in everything around their questions. So making sure that I can answer all their questions, right? Earning that trust that way and just studying my tail off. That way I can answer questions from management or also the business office was where I got the most resistance, to be honest with you, because it's very sensitive information, which I totally understood. My manager was super cool. He was always siding with me and talking to everyone, but there was that gap in communication sometimes. So just being fully transparent on top of everything and presenting the right things to management.
You heard it here first. You got to know your stuff.
Yes.
All right. I have one more question for you, and this is a big one. Now, I'm not going to hold it against you if you don't hit these goals, but I want to know, what are your goals for the rest of this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So first things first is solidifying our systems and making them concrete so that we can handle high 5-figure, 6-figure months. Because I 100% believe that we can get there. Month over month we've been trending and it's been going up and up. So I'd say the first thing at hand is making sure that our systems that are in place can handle that volume. And then as far as numbers, we want to do about 200 grand for the year. So the 2025, because we started in July. We started in July. So this year, this calendar year, we'd like to do 200,000 in sales. And then myself is just completely, just study more and learn more. And every single day, I'm always trying to be better. And yeah, I think that's the main thing off the top of my head for our goals.
Awesome. I think that is an excellent goal. I am thinking that's all the questions we got today. Emily, you got anything else?
Good over here. Thank you so much, Ishmael.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. I so appreciate you sharing some of your insights into your excellent and just absolutely rapid growth. That's all for this episode of the Parts Pros. Thank you for tuning in. For more information on the Parts Pros and our official e-commerce sponsor, Revolution Parts, visit partsprospodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you catch your latest podcast, or on our website, again, partsprospodcast.com, so you don't miss our next episode. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.